Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of What's New Mama podcast. And today we have a special guest, one of our favorites. We have Aisha here. I'm sorry. We're your hosts, Amy and Giselle. I was so excited to introduce Aisha that I skipped right through.
Hi, Aisha. Welcome
Hi.
back.
Thank you for having me back. I'm excited to be here
Of
again.
course. Back by popular demand. Our
Thank you.
listeners loved you. They loved the episode, and we just if it were up to us, you would be on every episode because
Oh yeah,
I would. I love
the
I
dynamic
love
is
the
just so
podcast.
good.
yeah. But the way the motherhood schedule works out, it doesn't.
Yeah, it doesn't always work out as we plan.
Yeah. But for today's episode, which I know we went a little back and forth because there's so many topics that we wanted to cover. We agreed on covering a common topic, a common issue that it seems like we're all experiencing in
Oh, I heard a
stages.
deep breath.
You did.
I heard that deep breath. Just your what happens to your relationships, whether it's friends, family, husband, wife, spouse, whatever, right? Your relationships closest to you once the baby comes along, and how that changes. I see you nodding your head and already agreeing and be like, yes.
I'm sure there's like a million things. Like, yes,
There is
I have examples.
I'm gonna leave the floor open for you guys to just start the conversation here. I know Amy and I covered a couple of things during our episode, and I know that you listened to that as well. So Aisha, I want to leave the floor open to you. You could talk about maybe yesterday if you wanted to, the week and how that's shifted. But I feel you on all of it because I totally get it.
Yeah, it's rough for sure. And even outside of the, when you first have the baby, you're both sleep deprived and all you're really doing is trying to survive. So we really didn't speak to each other outside of, okay, when was the baby fed? When was she last changed? That kind of thing. And then it got to about a few months in after the newborn stage, and we were thinking, okay, we really need to get something back, even if it's just like 10 minutes in a day. We need to sit down, talk, and be with each other. And we did start doing that to an extent, and we kind of implemented date nights, because I remember you saying that you're not one of the going out really much
Tom
of the time.
We're more of the making time for each other
right
in the house. We have our own little things, and if you are a going out person, then that's what you need to cultivate and repair the lost connection, or so I totally get. But that's great that you guys had that conversation.
We did. And I know, because Amy said you want to dress up and kind of go out, and that's me too, because when I'm in the house, I feel like all I'm doing is being a mum or a wife. So kind of removing myself from that aspect so that we do feel like more of the marriage,
get out of that environment, and go into the date night environment.
Exactly. So
where you're not look at the sink full of dishes,
exactly, and you can
mess
actually
from the day before,
kind of, and even though you are still probably talking about the kids in the house, you're just away from it a little bit.
A little bit.
So that's helpful, and we've actually been doing that every week. Sometimes it is just in the house, because finding a babysitter, we don't have family around. It's hard finding someone that you trust to look after them, and for some reason it seems like a lot of ones that we've dealt with anyway are just very unreliable. So we'll have them for a few weeks and then we just won't hear from them. So we don't like introducing them to just different people all the time. So
that's
finding
a
babysitter has been hard. Yeah,
because that's hard, because
really
the kids
hard.
are constantly seeing, if you don't have a steady babysitter, a new rotation, and whatever stability they had or habit that they formed, it gets disrupted.
It's gone again,
and then you have to start all over again.
Right.
Wow, I never thought of that.
It's really rough, really rough. So because of that, we don't go out every week necessarily, but we try and find time every Friday to kind of be with each other and stuff, but still the ups and downs of things that come even outside of having the children, like finances change that you kind of discuss or argue about. You know,
it's usually an
priorities
argument
change.
for me.
It
I don't know
is
about you.
usually an argument.
It's a discussion, but it's really an argument.
It's really an argument.
Especially when you have the Amazon packages coming through.
I know. I'm like, oh, it's fine. I'll just pull from the savings again. I don't know. It's okay.
Like, I can't hide them. We both work from home.
Exactly. Yeah. So they know. And he works from home, so I don't. So he sees my packages coming in.
Oh, no. I'm home alone, so I hide them.
That's great.
I still hide them. And I'm like, you remember this I bought a couple months ago?
Right, exactly, yeah. Oh, is that new? No,
I've had it.
And I was saying before, like, yesterday was our 5-year anniversary and we went out for a meal.
Congratulations.
Thank you. And that ended up in an argument because we were discussing what were we talking about? How, like, he feels like we're having the same arguments even from the beginning, and it's really to do with our communication. We just have trouble with it, and we're still yet to find a good therapist, which has helped us. It did help, and we've had a really, really good one, but we moved out of that state, and she wasn't licensed here in Texas, so we had to kind of let her go, but she really helped us, and we've not been able to find one since. So we've kind of been trying to navigate that ourselves, and even finding time to talk without because if we know it's going to probably escalate into an argument, we don't want to do it in front of them.
But then it builds up, because
it
then
does
when you
build
do
up.
Find the time to actually talk about something, more things happen.
Exactly.
And then I trust, I'm speaking, I know it too,
right,
because it's happened to us, and it's like, wait a minute, like, yes, go ahead, I'm sorry.
No, that's okay.
But like, I get it. I'm like, girl, yesterday was one of those days for me too.
Yeah,
so I totally get it.
And because you're thinking about, or you're having like the conversation with yourself in your head, and then they're doing things that are just annoying you more and more.
Yeah, they're breathing, they're sipping of water.
It's like, why are you here doing this right now?
Like,
and then by the time you get to actually talk about it, it's like, wow, at first it was this, but then you did this and this and this.
Yeah,
it's like, what?
Yeah, no, I
so
get
it. It's just
but
so draining.
I think that's a natural thing. That like you're literally with this person all the time, and you know how like Tom and I were talking about that before our little tidbit yesterday. But we talk about how like celebrities, you know, like they're married or like they're this, but they're going on projects for like away 6 months at a time, 3 months at a time, and like you know, there are people that have long distance relationships where they're together for years, and then let's say they retire or they're taking a break, and then you find that they don't know how to communicate or have this relationship because they've never been together for so long in the same room. And so when you think of our arrangement, right, like what we're doing, we're in a home, and then we have kids running around and causing other like arguments and disagreements in another way. It's inevitable. It's gonna happen.
It is.
You're gonna have a day when you're just like, I can't talk to you right now.
Right.
Just give me my space. And we'll talk about it some other time. But the hard part is to not let it build.
It is very difficult. Very, very difficult.
That's the part.
Because really, if it's not addressed...
You think you thought about it. Or you think that you made it known, but you really didn't.
Like, and if it's not addressed in that moment...
Look.
Exactly. The look.
The look. You know,
they're not paying attention that closely.
They don't. No. They don't.
No, they're
like,
not.
Oh, what's wrong? It's like, well, I've been giving you daggers for like 3 hours. I don't know.
Why didn't you ask
is something wrong? Exactly.
Yeah.
So why don't you just come to me and tell me what the problem is? Then it's like, that's just too simple. Why would I do that?
But in reality, like, it's not rational, right? Like,
it's not like, rational at all.
I can't expect him to know
what
I'm upset about if I didn't tell him.
No.
That's giving him way too much credit. That's giving anybody way too much credit.
Just like listening to you too, I'm like, well, because, you know, with Victor, it's not like that with us. Like, I I feel like I've come to a point where I'm like, well, he has his own things going on in
Yeah.
his mind, so
Yeah.
I can't expect him to really be
Right.
like, oh yeah, I did this wrong,
Mhm.
Yeah.
or whatever. So it's just like I'm just like, oh hey, and I just point it out now.
yeah.
That's
I don't
that's
like,
really
I'm just
great,
like
honestly.
whatever. Like I find that we don't have too much tension built up,
That's
or
really
like we
good.
don't
Yeah.
argue as much, because we're
Mhm.
really like, oh hey, this needed to be done. Can you
Mhm.
do that, or whatever? Which is like,
Yeah.
it's very open
Yeah.
communication. Because now I'm like, because I used to be like this. Like I used
Yeah.
to just like get upset over everything. Like, what are you
Mhm.
doing? And like it was
Let
like
it build
pent
up.
up anger
Yeah.
Yeah.
all the time. But it's just a thing where
Mhm.
I realized, man, he works, because now like he has like this new job, and
Mhm.
he's working like almost 24 hours. He's on call. He has to be doing
Okay.
stuff. So he's like
Yeah.
always thinking, and it's like his mind might not be here
Right.
Yeah.
with us sometimes, and it's like he's thinking about something else, and I'm like,
Mhm.
I kind of have to be a little bit more considerate. I can't be
Yeah.
so angry all the time.
I
Like,
know.
Yeah.
what are you doing? What are you doing? So I've come to that point already where I'm
Mhm.
just like, and it's easy for me to just be like, hey, can you just do this for us, or whatever,
Yeah.
and
That's
just
good.
talk about it. So
It is really good.
yeah, we've gotten to a good point now. I can actually say I'm not always upset, but there's
Right.
still times where I'm just like, are you kidding me? It's like little things,
Yeah.
little
Yeah.
things,
Yeah.
but
Mhm.
It's always
I'll
something
I'll
little.
remind
It
him,
is
and I'm like,
always.
Yeah.
It's
there's
always
nothing-
something small, because it's.
Always
I just
little.
think, like, why? How could you not have thought about, like, how could you not have thought about this? That's
Yeah.
yeah,
almost
but
my thinking.
I feel like they
but
don't
they
see
just
big
don't.
things.
Yeah.
They just don't see,
don't.
like, they only see the big general area.
Yeah,
I
they
think,
see the big
for
picture.
them. Yeah,
And we see like the
Yeah.
detail more.
Yeah.
That has to be a
What's going
biological
on?
thing. I think
I
that
feel
has to
like
be
it must be. Why is it that the
Because-
guys seem to
Yeah.
only think about the big picture, but we
Yeah.
always pick on the little
We look
details?
at the little
Yeah.
details
Yeah.
and all that. Yeah.
Mhm.
So I think, and and Tom and I, like we were talking about it the other day. We're like, we've really grown as like a
Mhm.
team together, and having the baby, because our relationship did change, really shifted that. Because before I would have been angry all the time, be like, why didn't he notice this or whatever? And it's like, hello, because he's not a mind reader.
Right.
Now it's, we don't have time
Mhm.
to be upset for a week,
Yeah.
right? And like not talk for a couple of days
Mhm.
because we have to. The baby relies on us communicating
Yes.
efficiently, right?
Yeah.
So we just kind of have to be like, what? And like now at this point, he's not hearing it. He's like, Giselle, tell me, why are you upset? What happened? What did I do? What is this? Like, he's like, just tell me straight up.
Just
And
watch
I'm
it
like,
already.
So this is what happened. So if the good thing is that he holds me accountable, and like I'll
Yeah.
hold him accountable. Yesterday he was in a bad mood all day,
Okay.
and I was like, "What's up with you? Like you're being an asshole or whatever." And like
Right.
he's like, "Yeah, I'm just, today's my day. It happens like once a year, and like I'm just cranky and not into it. So I'm sorry." He's like, "I just need to." We were out. We went to the mall.
Mhm.
We did a bunch of like errands, right, together
Mhm.
with the baby, and that doesn't go smoothly always,
No.
right? People are driving like assholes in the
Mhm.
street, all this stuff, right? He's like, I just need to go home and lock myself in the room away
Yeah.
from everybody because it's one of those days. And so I understood, like, all right, let me get out of his way.
Yeah.
Like he's communicating to me,
Right.
giving me a heads up. Like today's one of those days.
Mhm.
I know them very well.
Mhm.
So let me give him a space. And
Yeah.
that's how we navigated that. But for a moment, I was like, "You're being an asshole." He was like, "Yeah, you know what? You're right. Like, I need to just get away from everybody." But with the baby, he's totally fine. You know, and
Yeah.
he plays with the baby and all that stuff.
Right.
But
Right.
I was like, "Go take a nap. Go have
Yeah.
a go take a
Just
nap.
have a
Go eat
moment.
something. Go eat
Right.
something. Take a nap.
Is your sugar low?" Like, but we talk about it in that way, and I think that's helped us a lot.
Yeah.
But before that, when we lived in California and we were like a year in and still getting to know each other, living together and all of that stuff, we would go a week without talking.
Yeah. Mhm.
Like a whole week. And I
Yeah.
remember telling my coworkers, and they're like, "You're still not talking." They're like, "Nope.
Yeah.
If he's not talking to me first, I'm not talking
Exactly.
to him."
Yeah.
I look
But
back
it's
and I'm like, that was so
what?
dumb.
Yeah.
so dumb.
I'm the same. I'm the same.
Why?
And
Because of the folding of laundry? Why?
Right.
So dumb.
It just makes no sense.
Yeah.
It's not logical at all.
Yeah.
But you're right, the children do change it. So we've been had to be more conscious of, okay, we can't just not go, a week, days without speaking to each other, because we also want to model good behaviors for them and their future relationships, which kind of I'm touching on like generational trauma, but that was never modeled for me, because I would have times where even to us and my dad, like my mom just wouldn't speak to us until she wanted to. So
Gotcha.
so I've kind of adopted that to a sense, and that was a big issue for us in our relationship, and it's not as much now. It's kind of gone from a week to like maybe an hour or so.
Progress.
Exactly, it's progress. So but we're still working on it, and there are times that I will, I'll have to think about it a lot, but like, okay, I just need to tell him like what the problem is, because otherwise this is going to be something that we neither of us want it to be. So, and I'll just be like, this is what you did. And this is why I feel this way. And he'll say, okay, you're right. I shouldn't have done that. I'm sorry. And then it's done. And it's like, why can't every time just be like that? Why? I don't know why. Other times I'm not in that space to have that like emotional intelligence, I guess, to just do it.
It's just because you're teaching yourself. You're learning, you're relearning something that you already seen and done before differently.
For years and years,
You're unlearning the old.
Exactly. And having to relearn new.
And it's hard because it's so ingrained in us, right?
Yeah.
Because that's what we grew up a certain way. We
grew
up seeing certain behaviors, right? And so to us, even if now we know it's not the correct way, it's still embedded.
It's like default.
Like
you go straight back to it.
Like it's in there.
Yeah.
So we have to fight every which way internally, right? Mentally, emotionally, against that, and go against the current of this is what I'm what's
used
the word
to
like
know so well, and it's ingrained in me, and
and it's just like you gotta go the opposite, right? You gotta try. And then something that Tom would always remind me of, because he was aware obviously of all the trauma that in my past, whether it's abusive relationships, whether it's family, partners, he knew everything. Right. I made sure to tell him everything. And he said, like, when we would have an argument, or I would pull away or block any type of communication because I was shutting down, because that was my defense mechanism. He would remind me, he's like, Giselle, I didn't do this and this to you. Like, I shouldn't have to pay for somebody else's, like mistakes and things that they've done to you. And every time that he would like remind me of that, it was like this innocent guy like is just trying to love me and be a partner to me. I need to fight against that automatic notion of this is the way that I need to respond because I'm being attacked, or I'm being that fight or flight kind of like instinct that pops up. So that helped me a lot. So the fact that you even identify that, and that your husband, like you guys have that conversation, I think is the progress, right? That you guys are going towards. But the arguments are going to happen. Like the fights are going to happen. It's just a matter of how you work through them.
Right.
That's the hard part.
That's the really hard part. It's really, really tough on some days, more than others. But that is the part. And sometimes, he, although like he knows, again, everything that, the family dynamic that I used to have and everything, like he knows all that. But I think in the moment, it's hard for him to be like, oh, let me be understanding when she's coming at me like this.
Because he's also like, angry.
Yeah, and he also has his, issues and things that he's dealing with. And that's the disconnect as well. Because he can't, which is true, if someone's coming at you, you're not going to be like, oh, let me just, this must be because,
let me give them grace.
This must be because of what they experienced, Let me give them some grace. Yeah, exactly. That's not how you're going to think. You're just going to come back on the defense. So that's also something that we're trying to work through. We really, 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 really need to find a good therapist again.
Yeah.
Because we just need, until we get to that point where we can, more often than not, regulate it ourselves, we need that kind of mediator in it, I think. just otherwise we're just going to keep, like you said, having the same arguments.
Yeah.
Which is just, I mean, the arguments it's not as, it is the small things, but they don't escalate as much, and we try and de-escalate them.
Yeah, de-escalate.
Quicker. There we go. So there is progress for sure. I mean, okay. I remember even before we had kids, because I think, you know, I told you we didn't live together until I moved to America.
Right.
So,
right.
And that first year, we were like, the word divorce came up because we just didn't like each other at all. We were like roommates, just going through the motions. We didn't speak or anything. We had to get our parents, because he said, if we were to get a divorce, I don't want our parents to be surprised. So let's just tell them what's going on. So we did, and we kind of had check-ins with them every week like that for a while until we kind of got to a place where we were okay. And then after that, we found a therapist, but then we had a baby. So then it was like...
So that a new shift happened.
Different issues came up. So it's just... Yeah.
It's hard.
All I can say is it's hard. It's challenging. It's so hard. It's so hard.
Yeah.
But it's a work in progress.
It is.
Good that you are where you are right now. Like, you can acknowledge it. So that's good. It is
definitely progress. Good. Definitely. And after you have a baby, you're both, like, everything changes in you. You really are different people.
Yeah.
So you're kind of having to relearn each other as well. After having children, which is a learning process in itself.
And I think there's different stages to that too, right? Because right after having a baby, there is no understanding or grace because you're sleep deprived. Like, it depends, right? If you have support and you have in our scenario, there was no like, let me be patient, let me be a little bit more understanding, because our brains weren't functioning properly because we weren't sleeping, right? We had nobody to come in and help and all that stuff. So that's one stage. But I think that once you get to a point where, all right, you're sleeping more and you're not having so many disruptions, that's when you can say, all right, now we can give this a fair shot, and we can try to work through the little petty arguments, the little, you know, things that would get in the way before that seemed like such a big deal. And then now you can look at it a little bit more sane because you've slept a little bit more, and you can actually work through it. And the fact that, I think, like with you, with what you're telling us, like, you guys are working through it within different stages, right?
Yeah.
And the fact that you guys are on the same page about working through it, that alone tells both of you that it's worth the fight. It's worth the progress. It's worth the difficult arguments, the difficult conversations. Because if you have one person that's just like, I don't feel like I'm the problem, so I shouldn't have to work with this. Or I don't feel like, you know, whatever, then that's a bigger issue.
Yeah.
And that's what I think Tom and I have, like, really, at least I reminded myself, because I feel like he was in it always fully.
Yeah.
I think I was the one that was very quick to be like, well, we could just get a divorce, or we could just break up, or whatever it was, right? He was always the one that was like, he would never bring that up. He was always willing to work through it.
Do the work,
I had to relearn how to not be a brat, basically. No, how to not be broken. Like, I was broken. You know, like, I joke about it, but no, it's a real issue. I was dealing with a lot of stuff that I was bringing into the relationship. But again, like you said, you want to model good behaviors for your kids, right? And it's like, even though you want to say something, you're like doing it through the grit of your teeth, like smiling, like, it's okay. It's okay. All right. We'll talk about it later.
Right.
We'll
no, it's fine. Afterwards, we'll talk about it. Don't worry.
Because the kids are just there like, huh?
Yeah.
Like, what's happening?
Just soaking everything in. Soaking every little thing in.
Yeah.
So
you can't have a temper tantrum when you're trying to regulate your kids' temper tantrum.
Right, exactly.
You know? But it's nice, though. You guys are doing the things, like, I think if we had the ability to, like, go out, maybe.
Yeah.
Like, Like that would be nice. You guys are consistent. You guys are going out every week. Or trying, right?
Trying,
if not,
we try.
You're shifting, you're pivoting, and you're doing something at home.
Right.
But that's huge. That's huge. That shows like dedication and like love and investment in each other.
Yeah.
Because it's not easy.
It's not easy.
No.
It's not. I mean, even on the weeks where we aren't speaking, but we've already got the babysitter, so we have to go out. We have to spend time together.
So like, what is that like though? Like, do you guys just open up the discussion or ignore the issue?
So we usually, it's the car ride is maybe a bit quiet. Like, so how was
I can imagine.
Fine. How was? And then when we get there, it's like, so do we want to talk about what's going on or what?
We want to address the elephant in the room right now.
And then it does open up a lot of the time, maybe because there's food there and we love food. It's not, and we're in public too, so so it doesn't usually end up as like screaming and arguing like that. But we eventually, even if we don't resolve it, we've each had that time to tell each other what our issues are, tell each other how we felt in a certain situation. And like yesterday, we didn't really resolve the issue, but we both were able to give our perspective on what, like, based on our communication and how we feel like we're not communicating. We're both able to give that that aspect of things and just say, you know what, we're probably not going to agree on this, and that's just what it is for this particular issue.
Let's agree to disagree.
So and I honestly, I don't like that. I don't like the agree to disagree thing, just because it feels so, I need that closure. Like, okay, this is resolved. This is what we're going to do moving forward.
Yes,
so
yes, I get it. I'm like that too sometimes.
It's frustrating for me, but if neither of us feel like the other one's quite on the same page, or I'm just like, you know, you have your opinion, I have mine. Then I mean, what else can you do?
No,
otherwise,
I totally
just going to keep going around in circles, having the same.
You're not going to get anywhere.
Argument,
It's funny, like, you just reminded me of an argument. It wasn't really an argument that Tom and I had, like, this week. So it was one of those things, like, you know, we work Monday through Friday, and, you know, obviously the baby, we don't have babysitting, all that stuff. But one of my friends wanted to go to Carnegie Hall for a show, and it would be a weekday, and it was going to be like at 8 p.m., right? And she invited me, and I'm like, yeah, I could do it. That's why it's 8 p.m. Sure, no problem. So I told Tom. He's like, Giselle, that doesn't make any sense. You know, that's bedtime. It's like, and it would have been next week, right? So like not enough notice, but I was just so excited to see my friends that I missed them. I haven't seen them in months. And I didn't think logistics, right? I was just like, yeah, I can go. It's a weekday, whatever. Tom got, you know, whatever. And he's like, Giselle, it doesn't make any sense. And I was like, well, I'm just running it by you to make sure you're okay with it. And he's like, yeah, I'm fine with it. Right? He goes, I'm fine with it. And I was like, all right, cool. All right. So I'll say yes, just to make sure that he's okay with the responsibility of me not being home for bedtime routine, right? Whatever. 10 minutes go by, and he's like, he did like a smirk, or like not a smirk, like a like a thing, you know, like a breath or something. We're in the car. Right? So like I'm catching everything. I was like, what happened? What are you upset about? He's like, I just think it's dumb. Right? He goes, I just think it's dumb. It doesn't make any sense. And I'm like, well, you know, what do you mean? Like, talk to me, right? And then I'm getting annoyed because he's like, right? So then I go, and I had to catch myself. I go, well, luckily I didn't ask you whether you thought it was dumb or smart. I just asked you if you'd be okay with it. And that was... And then he's like, Giselle, it just doesn't make any sense. We haven't planned. We have to still like clean up and like unpack and like do all these things, right?
Yeah.
And I'm like, and I sat there, and by the time we got, I think it was Costco. By the time we got to Costco, I was like, you know what, you're right. It doesn't make sense. But my instinct was to dig down,
you're right,
right, and be like, no, I miss my friends and I want to go. And then also when I checked for the tickets, the seats, they wouldn't be next to her. Like, it was just, it was just one thing after another.
Yeah.
But then it would have been forcing the situation just because, you know, and then at that point I probably wouldn't have had a good time anyway.
Right.
Because I would have been stressed. But that was one of those things where it could have turned into a big thing.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And I had my smart comment that I had to
Yep.
just put in there. But then I catch myself, and then, you know, we both were like, yeah, no, it doesn't. He's like, yeah, that's all I was trying to say, Giselle. That's it. That's all I was trying to say. I was like, but we laughed. Like, I was like, well, yeah, I mean, again, good thing I just didn't ask you if it was smart or dumb.
Right. That sounds like something I would do. Have to have the smart comment that just makes everything worse.
Yeah. But, you know, and then days like yesterday happened where it was him that was grouchy pants and, you know, whatever. But that's a partnership, right? Like, you try to meet the other halfway, and if the other steps into some smart comment, right? Like, you have to
check them, correct them,
check them, regulate them, right?
Yeah.
Just like you try to regulate your kids' emotions.
Right.
But that's us. Like, that's our dynamic.
Yeah.
Caught it like, right there. But again, if it would have been 2-3 years ago, that would have gone a week long.
Right.
And I would have gone.
And you would have gone, yeah. Just to prove your point.
Yep. Exactly.
Yeah, just to prove my point. And I would have been stressed the whole time.
Yeah.
Right? But I wouldn't have told him. Right?
Of course, no. You can't tell him.
I would have been texting him like, is the baby okay? Is, you know, are you guys okay? Because then there's the guilt too. That I need to, like.
There is. The guilt, always.
Yeah.
But that's progress.
It's progress.
Progress.
Pat myself
Exactly.
on the back. But it's so funny because in my head I was like, yep, prepping. Like, it's one of those things like, I probably shouldn't say this. I probably shouldn't say this. And then it just comes out.
Yeah.
And it's like,
well, I said it.
I said it. Here we go. Whatever happens next. But yeah, so I totally get it. But, sometimes it's inevitable.
It is. Know? It is inevitable. And I mean, speaking of you talking about friends, honestly, I mean, all my friends are in England.
London. Oh, yeah.
So I really don't talk to them that much anymore. And, one of them I do still. Some of them I don't. And honestly, you know, when it shifted was, this is going quite heavy, but when it shifted was, you know, when everything happened with the George Floyd incident. So, you know, I was posting things on my social media, and it took a while, I guess. So my friends there, my friends are white, so it took a while for them to reach out and be like, oh, are you okay? How are you feeling with everything that's going on over there?
Yeah.
And, you know, I was glad that they reached out. And I had kids at this point, so it hit me a bit differently.
Right.
And I was like, I kind of gave my input. You know, it's hard knowing that this is the situation, and especially with kids now, this is another thing that we have to worry about and everything. And I remember one of my friends saying, yeah, but there's more good in the world. And I was just, and I guess she was just trying to be nice about it, but at the same time, I was like, you just don't understand.
It felt,
and you're not trying to understand, right? And honestly, after that, I was just like, we really aren't. If that's kind of how you're coming to me, we're not as close as I thought we were, kind of thing.
Right.
So, and I would never, and I knew then that I would never be able to talk to them about actual real stuff. It's because it's all well and good when it's, you know, jokes and surface-ish level stuff. I guess when it got deep, it was just, oh, well, but most people are good. And it's like, okay.
Because it's a reality.
Right.
It's a different reality.
It is different, right?
Than it is for them.
Yeah, right? Yeah. And that's fine. It's just when it feels like you're dismissing something that really, really affects me every day, then I just don't that's just me. I just don't need it. I just don't.
Well, yeah, because you're looking to your friends for comfort and like you know. I'm sure you guys have discussed other personal things.
Yeah, yeah, right.
And you had you felt supported.
Yeah,
but in this scenario,
it was
you didn't.
I didn't, and yeah, so that was hard to kind of maintain that. And honestly, when I go back home now, there's only like less than a handful of few people that I'm like really excited to go and see, and a couple of them I'm like I could take or leave whether I see you or not. Which I know sounds maybe not on my part, but I don't know. It's just that's kind of.
I think that's a big important step that you have to go through. You have to filter out who are your friends' friends,
right,
and who are the ones that like you're like, well, why is this person taking up space, energy, and time?
Yeah,
that's already so limited for me, right? Maybe we should just cut ties, you know,
and that's okay. It's fine, like you said totally in your episode. You know, it's fine. Just maybe friends are just for different seasons, and that's okay. So that was after that. I think that kind of eliminated two, maybe three of my friends from home. And so my circle is very, very small. It was small anyway, because I'm just slow to trust. But it's much smaller now. And because I'm here, and it's so difficult to, you know, when you're drained from your children, work, spouse,
life,
anytime you have like the small window of like time, honestly, I just want to be and like
you want to have that time by myself.
Right. And but then again I'm like, oh, but I also do wish I had more friends that were mums that I could talk to.
Thank you again for making time for us.
Oh, of course. This is fun. This is like, you know, I enjoy you guys, and it's like therapy too. So, you know, it's fun. And it's just finding the friends, and it's effort to make relationships, like friends, really deep connections and relationships. It really is a lot of effort. It's almost like dating, because I've been on apps to try and find what this peanut there is, mum friends and things, and you know, I've been on a couple of friend dates, and it's just I'm just exhausted afterwards. I'm like, do I want to see you again? I don't know.
See, I'm so happy you said that, because I'm the same way.
It's so tiring. But then I get like, I envy when I see like mum friends with their babies. I'm like, oh, that's sweet that they have someone.
Play day.
Right.
But then you're like,
but I'm like, oh.
That involves socializing.
No, I mean, it just takes effort, and you're so tired. It's like, it's just, I'd rather take that time off for myself sometimes.
And some people need that. Some people are like, they get energy from people and being around people.
Extroverts
exactly. They
like
need that. Me too. I'm the opposite. I'm an introvert. So
we're introverts.
I'm an introvert. Exactly. Me, energy is being by myself. And everything else is just draining. Like even being with my close friends, like I love hanging out with them, because they know that after a while I'm gonna get quiet. I'm done. And they're okay with that. So and I love that. But it can be, honestly, like after half an hour I'm just like, okay, when is a good time for me to excuse myself?
I had a play date on, was it Friday, and I went out, and she wanted to stay out, like, because she has time between like whenever she drops off her first child and then till like 2 something, and I'm like, I can't do from 9 to 2. That's a long time for me. I'm like, I was done by after. I was done after the first hour, but I managed to stick around. I know, and I managed to stick around for 2 hours.
Wow,
but I was like, I got home and I was just like this.
Like, oh my god,
what is going on? And I was so tired physically too. Like it was just like, I don't know. I was like, I'm not doing this. It's gonna take me like another 2-3 weeks to sleep again.
It's exhausting, especially because, and Tom and I, like, we went out to his friend's house and they have kids and all that stuff, but they have a big dog and all that stuff. It's stressful because we're like, it was nice to see everybody and have a good time and like catch up, but you're constantly watching your child, making sure they don't get hurt, making sure that they don't, bother the dog to the point where the dog gets threatened and like all of that stuff, which is a real thing. So when we get back, we're like, that was nice, but I'm exhausted.
Let's wait a while before we do this again.
Like we need like a month to recover.
Right. Because we went to see some friends who they don't have kids, so everything in the house was,
it's not baby proof.
Amazing. And everything was like cream, white, immaculate. And I would just spend the whole time like, please don't touch this, please don't do this. Like, oh my God, they've got crumbs on that. And it was nice to see them, but like the whole time I was just stressed that they were gonna
mess something
ruin
up.
something.
Like the minute you get into a conversation, you have to stop what you're saying and be like, hey, don't do this, don't do that. And then you get back to, you're like, what was I saying?
Exactly.
What were we talking about?
What were we talking about?
And then you're just like, well, it was great seeing you.
Right.
Like, hanging out. Like, but it is a lot. But we do it because of the kids. We need to expose them. Especially, I feel like I don't know, Aisha, like, and Amy, because you had Milo during the pandemic. I feel extra pressure to expose Derek to more people and things because of the isolation that we went through with COVID. Because I feel like he's behind on the socialization aspect of it, not developmentally, right, but just the fact that he I needed that too. Even though I'm an introvert, I still needed a little bit of it. But I can't dive into like a 9 to 2 window. That's too much. That's too much. But little increments here and there. But do you guys feel like extra pressure to do things like that, or no? Is it just?
I think I did initially.
Okay.
Now because they go to daycare, so they get that every day, like they're around people. But I still feel guilty if we don't take them out every week or do something. I still feel guilty. I'm like, okay, we need to, I know they go to daycare, but outside of that, we need to like do something, expose them to people, things, I don't know, anything, so there's that pressure. And there's like days when we just stay in the house and just play. And I do feel guilty for that because I'm like, are we like failing them by not taking them out and letting them see things and people? But I know but then we ask our 3-year-old, so what do you want to do today? I want to play and eat. I was like, okay, so we can do that, but do you want to do anything else? Right? Me too. But you need to leave the house. So.
Well, that's so good though. But I understand that feeling of like, you feel guilty because you feel like you need to maximize every minute, every day, especially like with us, like we're like, it's the weekend, like we're not working. Should we go do something? Should we go? And it's like, it's raining and it's crummy out. And like, they're like, well, what are we going to do? Drive around in the rain? Or like take him to a place where he can bounce around and all that stuff. And like, he has plenty of that here. But I get it. It is hard. It is hard. Because you feel the guilt seeping through, or like that negative self-talk that like, I feel like as moms, we have to like combat every day. Like, did I do enough? Was this good enough today? But home is their safe space.
It is.
I don't think that's a bad thing. And that's what I have to remind myself. That's their safe space.
It is.
And like, they have a ton of fun here because they're with mom and dad playing. But if you have play dates, that's cool too.
That is fun for them too.
But I think the balance of it.
Yeah, exactly. And I will say that even though some friendships have gone, others actually strengthen, because you do find out who's really there for you after you have a baby too. So I used to work with someone in Nashville when I worked, and we just happened to work in the same department at the time because she's a doctor, so she was rotating through our department. and we would talk and everything every day. And then I had the baby. I was on maternity leave, and I was surprised. Like, she just texted me, like, "Oh, congratulations! Is it okay if I come over?" And I was like,
Aw.
"Oh yeah, sure, come through."
Yeah.
So she did, and she bought like a vino gift set for the baby and me something, and we've been well, like, she's like one of my well, she's my closest friend here in America now.
Okay.
And we go on like couples holidays every year and things like that with her and her husband. So,
That's nice.
and it's been really, I wish she lived in this state, but she doesn't.
Yeah.
So, which would be nice. But yeah, so some relationships have strengthened because since then also,
Yeah.
which has been nice. It's just I wish they lived here.
Closer.
Right.
Yeah.
So
I read a
it's not
post
all.
about that. Like,
Yeah.
they call that unicorn moms. Where
Right.
you have a mom that you get along with, the kids get along, right? And you
Yeah.
live close.
Right.
That's a unicorn
It's the
mom.
unicorn,
You
yeah,
hold on
because it
to
rarely
that.
happens. Yeah. Do you guys have friends like that near you?
I have a unicorn mom.
Oh, you do?
Yeah, her name is Lenka.
No.
And she, like, we happened to meet like at the library. And she
Wow.
just like moved back from like
Mhm.
Slovakia and like
Mhm.
came over here, and we've been friends ever since. Like, we spent Easter together. The
Mhm.
kids met, like the kids love each other. Like, they're
Yeah.
best buds. So like it makes us feel good too. Like,
Yeah.
oh, look at the boys, they're playing.
Right.
You don't have to worry
Yes.
of them like not getting
Mhm.
along or anything
Mhm.
like that, while we talk about the woes of motherhood.
Yeah.
But like, have you gotten to finish the book yet, or have you gotten
Right.
to
Right.
things like that.
Yeah.
And I do have other moms that they're just far, like,
Yeah.
and like Amy's far from me, right? And
Yeah.
I have Giselle, like my other friend Giselle, like
Mhm.
super far. Sabrina, they're far.
Mhm.
But I know that if we were closer, we would like, let's
Yeah.
go to Target together. Let's
Right.
go.
Yeah, we'd be
Let's
out
go
all the
for a
time.
walk.
Yeah.
Because it makes a difference. It really, really
Yeah, it
does.
does. It does.
But it is a rarity to find. And I think that as moms,
Yeah,
like how
no,
you said, some relationships
my best
strengthen.
friend's actually in
Right.
Texas.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I think you
Oh.
mentioned her. What's her name?
Yeah. Grecia.
Gracia, yeah. You
Yeah,
mentioned her
she's
before.
we were college friends.
Mhm.
We had our first babies together around the same time. So we did our baby showers like around the same time. So we have
Yeah.
pictures with our
Aw.
bellies and stuff, and we still keep in touch, but she's in
Yeah.
Texas, so I don't see her. I mean, she was in
Right.
Jersey before then,
Mhm.
but I don't see her
Okay.
as much as
As
I would
much,
like
yeah.
to. I still have to go visit. So
Yeah.
I gotta plan that with
Do a
her.
road trip.
Right.
Do a road trip.
And then the mom that I was just talking about that I had a play date with,
Yeah.
she's working. We're working up to that unicorn
Okay.
mom friend thing because we've been friends for a year now, a little bit more than a year
Mhm.
now. And our kids are the exact same ages. So
Wow.
we met through preschool with the first,
Okay.
with the girls
Yeah.
were like, they became friends, and then they were like, you guys have to be friends
No.
too. And like, they made us go and introduce each other to ourselves. Like, and it was just like, oh, okay. And then they made us exchange numbers. Like, they were like,
Wow.
you guys have to get each other's cell phone numbers. I was like, okay. So then we were
You
just
guys are
like,
guess
after
we're
that,
doing this.
Right.
yeah. And so it's like, we've been like, we're working up to it. So I
Okay.
think,
That's
we're
really
almost
nice.
there.
Yeah.
That's great. That's
Yeah,
great.
it is. It is.
It does help a lot when you
Yeah,
have
it
that.
does. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And like as moms, like we all know we're limited on time.
Yeah.
And I think that's why the relationships some strengthen, because you both understand
Yes.
I'm limited on time, but I'm investing the time in you
Exactly.
and our
Yeah.
friendship.
Mhm.
And then there's that mutual respect with the other of, I know how hard it is to get
Yeah.
this time.
Mhm.
So I value it.
Yeah.
And I think that's what it really boils down to.
Mhm.
Somebody that
Mhm.
respects and like values your time, but also respects and acknowledges your child. Like those are,
Yes.
I mean, I know you said you listened to the episode of before, and like I mentioned like people that didn't show up to like his birthday party, but like
Right.
it was more of I missed them and I wanted to see them, but they didn't
Mhm.
even text, call,
Yeah.
letting me know they're not coming, like that type of stuff. Have you ever encountered something
like
Similar in that
that.
sense?
Have I don't. I mean, again, when I was, what was I going to say? I mean, the only thing I guess, because I'm not there in England, so
Yeah.
I wouldn't expect them to fly to America for my baby
No.
shower and stuff. But like I try and make a point to, like, on birthdays, at least, even if it's not sending like a card, I will message them. Oh, happy birthday to
Yeah.
XX, whose birthday it is. And there's the same people actually. I haven't gotten that, and it's just I'm not expecting like a card or anything, but just some
Yeah.
like acknowledgement, because I know
Acknowledgement.
I'm doing like the bare minimum by just sending a happy birthday, but I'm trying to
Right.
acknowledge
But
that,
it's something.
Yeah.
oh, this is their birthday. I'm gonna say happy birthday because it's a big moment for you.
Yeah.
But I'm not getting that back, so I'm just like, okay,
So that's what I mean.
that's
And that's
fine.
happened to me before too.
Right.
And I'm like, oh, like it hurt a little bit.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, it does.
I have kids' birthdays saved on my calendar.
Yeah.
Like just to
Yeah.
make sure I don't forget.
Exactly.
And to me I'm like, oh, like
Yeah.
you couldn't not even a text.
Right. Right.
Like I know the kid doesn't care. The kid's like
The kid doesn't care, yeah.
Exactly. 2 years old.
Exactly.
I know
But
Derek isn't gonna know, but
no,
I know.
he's not. Exactly.
Yeah.
And I think that's what it, and that's really what I was getting at.
Yeah. So, but yeah, in that sense, then yes, I have. And it's
Amy,
the same people.
Do I have
so.
friends that do that? Yeah. I
Mhm.
mean, we no longer talk, obviously.
Okay.
But that was just like long time coming though. Like that
Okay.
friendship had been fading out for a
Mhm.
while. So, I reached out a couple times and I tried, Giselle. You hear me? I tried a couple times when I knew that person was expecting, and I was like, how are you? And I was like, yeah, we talked for a few. And then it was like, once she had her kid, it was just like, she just stopped talking to me. And it was like, oh, okay, I get it now. So you don't even want to, continue even talking to me about anything. I was like, okay, I guess me trying wasn't enough.
Right.
Yeah.
So I tried.
Okay. All right.
And we just kind of faded away.
Yeah. That's all you can do, try. But yeah, it's hard to just keep trying because like you said, you don't have that time to be continually trying if someone isn't giving you anything at all.
Yeah.
So
like I used to there are certain kids that I'll mail them like gifts. I mean, I won't go to the post office. That's too much. But I'll order it and I'll ship it.
Yes.
I'll ship it Amazon, Target, whatever, right? Or I'll set up like an investment account for them, put in $50. The parent can, continue investing.
Yeah.
Those little things. But to me, those little things, they're a lot, right? Like, because I'm taking a moment to think about this kid and the parent and all of that. And little things, even if it's just a text or like a FaceTime call or a voice memo, whatever it is, I'm still doing that because I care. And then the minute I see that you're not doing that, like it's not me, you're not meeting me halfway on things, and you're not doing it with me or my kid, like I'm like, well, clearly it's a one-sided relationship.
Yeah.
And in any other scenario, if you were in a marriage, a significant other that you were the one that was constantly putting in the effort, your friends and even you would tell yourself, why am I here? Like nobody, this person isn't valuing me or putting in the effort as I am. So why am I here?
Right.
So, but I think, and like I said it in the other episode, I'm very big on, I'll have at least that conversation with that person. I'll be like, I feel X, Y, and Z.
Yeah.
And then if they're not receptive, then okay, then that's what it is.
Right.
I now know. But I have had friends that, like I said in the other one, I've been ghosted, like in a sense that we just parted ways, and I don't really know why. And it's just like, okay, because they're happy, I'm happy, we're thriving individually, separately, and that's all I could ask for.
Yeah.
But it's what's the word I'm looking for? Relationships after a baby are different.
They are.
They're very different.
They are.
And I feel like as a mom, I've become more in tune and more sensitive to just the effort that's being put in by other people, because I'm putting in effort. even though I'm exhausted, sleep deprived, a
Mm-hmm.
cranky toddler, like all these things that are happening, adding on a full-time job, like all these things, but I'm still trying to make the time. That to me is just like, if I could do it, then I
Right.
feel that a person that's invested in me and cares about me or my
Mm-hmm.
son should be okay with sending a text message or
Yeah.
a
But
phone call.
if you don't mind me kind of interrupting you a little bit, I'm
Yeah,
just thinking here, but like I feel like social media also plays a factor into this because they may be following you and they're like
Mm.
liking your post or writing little comments or something, and I find
Mm-hmm.
that people find it easier to be like happy birthday on a post,
on a post,
or
yeah.
rather than reaching out to you
All
text
right.
Yeah.
wise or calling you. It's like
Yeah.
kind of changed relationships a little bit there
Yeah.
with
Yeah.
that factor. So I feel
Mm-hmm.
like sometimes they think like, oh well, if I'm liking your post or
Then
saying
I'm
some
doing. Yeah.
commenting, then I'm done. I don't need to do
Mm-hmm.
any more than
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
that.
Right.
So
Yeah.
I find like that plays a little bit into what people are thinking now.
Right.
So like they're thinking, all right, that's enough effort. I don't have to do
Right.
anything else.
Like that's enough acknowledgement. That
Yes.
person should
Yeah.
understand
So
that by me writing it here and
mhm.
like
Right.
doing a heart,
Right.
that's
Yeah, like
acknowledgement.
that's it. Like, and I'm
Yeah.
up. I'm also like I've done that. So,
Yeah.
and I'm thinking, and I'm like, I've thought that that's okay, and then I'm like, should I
Mm-hmm.
have texted this person? Maybe
Right.
should I have just done that instead?
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, you got to think
Mm-hmm.
about that too, because some people are
That's
just,
true.
social media does play a like
Mm-hmm.
kind of like a part
Yeah.
in that too.
And I have, I will say I've done that.
Mm-hmm.
But it's the ones I guess that I'm close
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
that I will, even if I have forgotten, and then I see they've put, oh, I'm like, oh my gosh, I'll text. I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
happy
Yeah.
birthday. And I just generally wouldn't, or I might, and just, I'd either do both or just text if it was like a really close friend.
Yeah.
And usually I would have, like you said, have it in the calendar anyway, so I should have, unless it's gotten away from me. I didn't know that day.
Yeah.
But yes, I have done it with people who I'm maybe not as close to, and
Yeah.
I'll just say, "Oh, happy birthday," and hope they've had a great day or whatever
Yeah.
on a social media, and and then I've just kind of left it at that. But,
Yeah.
yeah.
So that's a good point, right? So like you just said it. You just said you'll do that for people that you're not as close to, right?
Mhm.
Right.
And
right.
I've done that too on
Mhm.
Instagram, like happy birthday, like not as close to those particular
Mhm.
kids or that
Mhm.
person. So then to me, if somebody does do that to me, then I just think, then, oh, okay, so then I'm misreading this friendship because
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Some people
I
think
thought
that
we were
that's
It's
close
true,
okay.
right?
but we're
But we're
not.
clearly not. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, isn't it crazy how social media like exposes us to so many people, right? And it connects us. It
know.
creates a bigger
Yeah,
web.
it
And it does connect you to people, but it actually separates you more
Mhm.
It also
because
cancels
you
people
lose
out.
you lose that human
But,
connection.
Yeah, no, you do.
You do.
Where you forget to even have like how do I look somebody in the eye?
I know.
Do I look at their forehead when I'm talking to them? Do I look at their nose?
What do I do?
What do I do?
Right.
What do I do with my hands?
Exactly. That's a big one. I'm like,
Especially
I
for
don't know.
pictures. Like, where do I
Yes,
put my hands? Like here. What?
Right, I was gonna say.
But yeah, no, it is very interesting. And like that's another topic I do want us to dive into, social media with our kids.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Exposing them
Mhm.
and like showing them whether you have a public
Yeah.
page or a private
Mhm.
page.
Mhm.
Those are big things too.
Yeah.
And I mean, well, we'll go into that in another episode. But back to the friendship and like the relationship aspect. So key points, right, to remember, because I know we talked about different things, the different moments in our relationships, right, with arguments and working through it. What would you say, Aisha, are like key things that you have to remind yourself, and like your husband also, like remind yourselves of to get through? Like, we're on the same page, we're on the same team, we need to push through. And even with the friends that you have grown to be better friends with and like a stronger bond, what has kept you guys going throughout this moment? And like, what advice would you give to other people that are in the trenches.
Yeah. Are you ever like out of the trenches? I
Let me
don't
take
know.
notes.
I
Let me get
feel
my
like I'm
notebook and
still
let me
in
take
it.
notes.
Because I mean,
I don't think we're ever really out of the
relationship-wise,
trenches.
I know. Relationship-wise, what have we done? I mean, what we're always trying to. Everyone says, "Oh, you have to communicate, communicate, communicate," but I don't think there's much emphasis on like how or why. So they don't. Well, I'm not a mind reader. He's not a mind reader. So you have to be very explicit about what you need and want. Like if I need help with something, I say, "Oh, can you just help me do things around the house?" I have to say, "Okay, can you help me take the dishes out of the dishwasher? Can you help me do the laundry?" Things like that. That has helped because he will listen.
Doing this that doesn't
That doesn't
No,
work.
that doesn't help.
He will get okay. Noted.
Okay, got it.
No.
And that's really helped us too, because I would get so annoyed. It's like, can you not see there's things in the sink? Can you not see the laundry he's doing? Like, why do I always have to tell you? But that's what he needs. That's what he needs. So, and he will do it. It's not like he'll say, okay, yeah, sure, of course, and he'll do it straight away because he's also learned that when I say, can you help me? I mean like right now, this minute, not in 10 minutes. So there's that, the communication, and also as well as like communicating, okay, you did this and it made me feel this way because of this. And that's something I've had to work on because I don't know if you can tell, I'm really bad at communicating anything in general. I'm very vague usually. So that's been a work in progress for me. It's like, okay, I felt alone because you didn't do this and it reminded me of this or something. And he'll say, okay, you're right, I shouldn't have done that. And I guess he's very receptive because he is the kind of person that he's in it with me. He wants us to thrive and be better than we have been. And I know that not everyone spouse or partner is as receptive as that sometimes. So if that is part of an issue in the relationship, then I think that's just a completely different issue in itself. But and I want us to go back to therapy. I think that helps us to mediate. And with the kids, I would say it's difficult to find time as a couple. It just is, with children around. But even if sometimes it's only been like 10, 15 minutes where we've been like, okay, we have to sit down and have to talk about this. And after they've gone to sleep or something. And we have, and without any distractions, no TV, phones down. That's one thing, because he'll get distracted by something like, what does that mean? Okay. And then he'll be on his phone. I'm like, okay, well, we're actually having a conversation here. So,
I'm trying to have a real conversation.
Right, I'm actually trying to talk to you and tell you something. So it's like phones away. That's one big thing. No distractions. And we'll just talk about what needs to be done. You tell me your issues. And, something that his mum said, actually, my mother-in-law, was whoever comes to you with the problem, the other person just listen, acknowledge what they've said, and if needed, apologize for it, and then let it be that. Whereas sometimes it can be, you've done this, well, you did this. It's like, well, that's not helpful to anyone. So that's something that we always have to remind ourselves of. If I'm coming to you with something, just like it's an issue for me, this is how I'm feeling, listen, and just tell me that you understand if you do. And if you don't, tell me to explain it in a different way. Something. So that's kind of the key points I think we try and go by. It doesn't happen always, but we try.
But those are the pillars that you aim for.
Right,
so
right.
Good thing. Okay.
That's kind of what we aim for. And relationships wise, or should I say friendships? For that, like you said last time, just it's okay if you're kind of done with one friend in that season, if they're not being as or reciprocating the effort that you're putting in. It's okay, because like you said, we are mums. We don't have time or energy really at all. So if you can't be putting energy into something that honestly isn't really serving you, and it's just too much. You have to prioritize what it is that you need, because if you're putting effort into something, energy is taken away from other things, like putting energy and effort into your kids and family and everything. So, and yourself. And the ones that have strengthened, I'm just so grateful, because the one that actually I'm closest to here, she doesn't have kids, but they don't have kids yet, but they're so invested in them. And it's nice because sometimes I, as a person, just get, if other people don't have kids, or even people who do, I'm like, they don't necessarily always want to hear about your kids.
Yeah.
So I'm very conscious of that. Like my husband, he'll be telling everyone about them. I'm like, some people just don't care. And I don't assume that because they're everything to us, they're going to be everything to everyone else. Mm-hmm. But they're so invested in them. And they're actually coming to see us this next weekend, because they haven't met our youngest yet. And our oldest, it was like 2 years ago that they saw her last. So they're coming over to see us, and they're invested in us as a couple and as individuals and in our kids, and we are the same with them. And it's just that, like you said, that effort that you can see that they're putting in, and that they truly, truly care about us. And it's just really nice to have. To have someone want to understand what you're going through and want to understand you and spend time with you and spend time with your kids. And it's I'm getting emotional, but it's just so rare to have that someone genuinely care for you like that. So
and understand that you're not going to be like high energy all the time.
Yes.
You know, and you don't have to fake it. I think that's one of the main things. You don't have to fake it. You don't have to pretend to be fully okay. Like you could tell them, like, I'm sorry, I didn't sleep. I'm stressed. Like, and they're like, it's fine. You don't have to. You don't have to entertain me. Like, I'm just here to enjoy your company, whatever that may be.
Exactly.
And I think that's really nice when you have that. I'm happy that you have that.
Thank you.
It's so hard to find.
And I'm happy that you guys are finding your unicorns. I have a unicorn. Unicorn moms.
And we have each other. We have a community. Yes. Like I know, we were texting and we'll DM each other.
Yeah.
Like I look at your post and you make me crack up. Like you are, if you live closer, I feel like you'd be a unicorn. You get it.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's what we need more of when it comes to having good relationships around us.
Yes. People who understand and understand.
Because you don't have to have kids to understand.
You don't.
Just
or to
be
want
a tired
to understand
human being.
Right.
You just have to be invested.
Yeah.
I think that's the key in all your relationships.
Yeah.
It has to be a two-way street of investments with one another. Because if not, what's the point?
Exactly.
And you also, I think, have to identify too, like who's worth investing, who's not. Because there are certain people that like you'll hang out with, and after you're like, I feel depleted. I feel like whatever it was, that vibe just wasn't. It wasn't for me.
Right.
And I think you have to be honest with yourself too. Like, this isn't. It's just worth.
Not. Yeah.
Yeah. Exactly. But okay, good. Thank you for sharing all of that. Okay, and then where can our listeners find you? I'm going to put the links below and all this stuff.
Yeah, of course.
If you want to shout out your page and your blog.
Sure. The Good Mutha on Instagram, Mutha, Mutha. The Good Mutha. Yes. And then I have my blog also. That's on Substack. Still same title, The Good Mutha. Yeah.
Yes.
That's where you can find me.
I love it. You posted a poem the other day. It was in Women's History Month about it was the mother, but it was like the home.
Right. The foundation. Yeah.
I took screenshots of it, and I actually I need to remember. I meant to post it on our page because
thank you.
It was just like I cried reading it, and I was just like, I'm getting emotional now to think about it, but it was so beautiful.
Thank
you. And I recommend everybody to subscribe to your newsletter because I go through it like in the morning, and I'm just like, oh, this is so nice. It's a
Thank
nice
you.
reminders and just good
Yeah.
things to have in mind.
Mm-hmm.
That's all.
Thank
And
you.
I think
Yeah,
we
I
need
had
more of
that
that.
one. I had that one. I was thinking about like get an idea, and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna write a poem because I do like blog posts, but then I also do poems on again if it's there. And then
Yeah.
and so I had that one a while, and then the Black History Month came. I was like,
Yeah.
this would be a good time to end it. And then I just kind of wrote what was on, but yeah, I'm glad I'm glad you told me that.
Yeah. No, I loved it. Again,
Thank you.
I screenshotted it because it's a long poem, so it didn't
Yeah,
fit
yeah.
into one screen.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, how can I put this in one so that I can show the whole thing?
The whole
But
thing.
if you have something, please send it my way because
I can try and
share.
put it in because I put them in like a Word document first, and then I post them on there. So yeah, I think it is smaller on the document, so I can send it over. Yeah,
and then you have your Instagram page, which is full of relatable, funny
videos and quotes
and
yeah.
Like there's so much in the world, right, that we can complain about and be angry about. That it's nice when you have a page like yours where even though you're taking real life struggles, right, real. And like difficult moments, but you're making it funny. We can laugh about it.
I'm trying to,
reflect on it in a good way.
If we don't laugh, we'll just keep crying.
We won't.
Exactly.
We won't make it through if we don't laugh through it.
Right.
But as long as we're not turning into like the Joker, where he has that creepy
right,
smile,
right,
trying to push through in that psychotic way.
It's like, oh.
But yeah, no, it's thank you. I say all that to say thank you for sharing everything that you share, because I know it's not easy.
You. No, it's not. But thank you, and thank you guys for having these conversations and letting me be a part of it too. So I appreciate you.
Thank you, and thank you to all the listeners. If you guys have any feedback at all, wait, no, Amy, did you have anything that you wanted to plug in?
I would have jumped in. No,
your little reminder, come on.
Oh, what you're doing a great job.
Come on, you gotta feel it. I didn't feel that.
I didn't either.
I didn't feel that.
Just remember, you're doing a very good job. Whatever you're doing great.
All right. That's better.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you, ladies. Thank you to all listeners. And I'll pop in the links below for the description. And have a great day. And just know that you're not alone, as you can hear here. Yeah. Whatever struggle you're going through with motherhood, you're not alone. All right. Thank you, guys. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.